Investment. See, all of those are wrong. Because when you go to an investor, they're going to say, let me know what you're trying to do. And then you're going to tell them what you're going to try to do. And then they're going to say, okay, well, how's the building zoned? And you're going to say, okay, the building's zoned like this. And then they're going to say, okay, well, if the building is zoned, you say it's properly zoned, but do you have proof that it's properly zoned? And you're going to be like, no, I don't have proof that it's properly zoned. And then they're going to say, okay, well, I can't invest in it because I understand you're telling me that you want me to give you money to get a lawyer, but I'm not going to give you money to get a lawyer because just if I give you money to get a lawyer, that means you're not going to get a license. What was the other one that you said? Zoning. So then, if you have a connect with the zoning administrator, that is very good. I'm not going to say that one is not great, but the zoning administrator is going to say, I'm glad that we're friends and that we're homeboys and everything, but you need to give me something specific so I can help you with the zoning. So let's try it again. Any other selections? Say that again. Okay, so he said business consultant, somebody write your business plan. Again, a business plan is only is as good as your ability to execute. So you can spend all day writing a business plan and give it to your investor, and they're going to say, well, let me see your building. So no, business plan is not the number one thing you need. Thank you. The architect. It's the architect. So, and I knew that you all wouldn't get it because me and Seth didn't get it. But you can't do anything until you pay for the drawings, so you can show your investor or what your building layout is going to be. You can't do anything with the zoning until you turn in your drawings, and the drawings aren't free. Does anybody know anybody that's an architect? Yes. Or is anybody in here an architect?
Become friends with an architect.
Nobody here is an architect.
I don't
so
know.
as we talk,
I don't know.
So as we talk about additional business opportunities, the architect, he's the man. He and she, they run the show right out of the gate. Because the first thing that you have to do is submit drawings. It's the very first thing you got to do. Does anybody know how much drawings cost?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a simple set of plans would be at least $5,000 to somebody. And if you want very involved set of plans, like commercial set of plans,
Commercial, that's what it would be.
you know, you could be looking at like 10, 12, plus, depending on how involved.
What was ours?
Ours was 35,000, and I talked him down to like 27 because I told him I would market his company at our events.
They're not cheap at all.
It's called Dan Delaney Associates. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that the reason why, and when you do these drawings, and I have them in the back, show you, if you will care to look, but it's a long process. It's not just like, hey, come and look at my building, because he's going to say, well, what do you want to do? He is an architect. He is there to help you through the process, but you have to tell him what you want. So if you haven't never designed anything, who's the next person you need to call? Say that again? I can't speak up. Yes, the general contractor. So before the architect may come with you 1 or 2 times to your building, but then he's gonna say, you gotta drop some money in. Can't keep coming out to the building about your idea, because you're not the only one that has an idea. You're not the only one that needs to give your investor your drawings. So go tell your investor you need $35,000 to get the drawings. But if you
I was gonna say, also included that's mechanical, plumbing,
Yes.
electrical. Like the architect, I guess, also should be included with the engineers. They're gonna come as like a team. Like our architect Dan that he talked about manages his team of mechanical, electrical, and civil engineers.
So what that means is you're not just getting one drawing. You're getting like 30 drawings, and they're huge, and I can't read. He can read them. I can't read them. He can actually do that kind of stuff. Like he can. Anyway, there are these huge drawings, and you need the structural drawing, the zoning drawing, the mechanical drawing, the electrical drawing, the plumbing drawing. You need all of these drawings, and there's a process. So once you get the drawings, and you drop about 10,000 to get the architect going, the architect will then coordinate the process with his mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and his team. Okay? But you still need all of those people, all of those individuals to come out to the facility. Because the architect, the lead architect is not a mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineer. So if you're new to this like I was, I would ask Dan, like, okay, well, I'd ask him electrical questions. He would say, George, I have to talk to the electrical engineer. And I'm like, well, what's the difference between an electrical engineer and an electrician? It says electrical. Is there a difference? Then I learned that yes, the electrical engineer draws and maps out the electrical wiring, and the electrician installs what the electrical engineer has drawn up on the drawings. So the architect is the first person that you need out the gate. So when someone's asking, well, what can I do in advance? The number one thing you can do, if you know an architect, tell them to become a marijuana-based architect, which, do y'all see how, like, that doesn't make sense? A marijuana, all he's doing is going in and designing the building. He does it every day. But create a niche. Like literally in Denver, Colorado, there are marijuana-based architects like ours. And all they do is architect or marijuana type of executions now, yes.
So every state that you've been in that has passed this bill and moved forward with it, they have a specific way that they need a building, that you have to go in and take an already standing building and break it down through all that, even though it's been let's say, a storefront or a warehouse.
Yes.
Depending on what you're doing, you have to go through and rework the whole building?
Yeah, so if let's say you go into Planet Fitness and you're saying, hey, this Planet Fitness shut down, I want to turn it into a cultivation center. Mm-hmm. Well, once they take all that equipment out, it's just a big room, right? You got to put doors and walls in now. Mm-hmm. So when you bring the architect in, you're going to say, this is grow room 1, this is grow room 2, this is grow room 3. That means you got to put up 2 walls, you got to put in doors. There's no fans, there's no wiring on the ceiling because your lights are going to hang from the ceiling. So you got to have the electrical engineer come in and say, yep, we're going to run 60 lights down here, 60 lights down here, 60 lights down here. And so your Planet Fitness, although it looks like a big warehouse, it's not outfitted for a marijuana grow house.
Okay, what about the dispensaries? Is this
so now you're walking into a dentist, right? Walking to a dentist that's closed. And you're like, okay, this is a nice facility. It used to be a doctor's office and a dentist. So if you're going to keep it exactly the way that it is, meaning I want to use it exactly the way that it is, you're still going to need drawings because you're changing the use of the building from a dentist's office to a new type of business. Your drawings may not be as complex, but you're still going to need drawings.
Okay.
No matter what, you're going to need drawings. Your drawings may cost $5,000. In that example, they may not cost the $35,000. So if you're going to very rarely you're going to very rarely walk into a current existing building and not have expensive drawings.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
For a cultivation.
Yeah, if you're looking at cultivation center, you're looking at, you're bringing in a lot of power. That's automatically going to alarm your fire department, your local fire department. Is going to be concerned over that. They're going to want to make sure, their biggest concern when we deal with them is the safety of their guys when they come in, heaven forbid, case of a fire. They want to make sure that, equipment's not going to be falling on their head. We're going to have easy paths in and out of the building. Over the last year, I've learned a ton about fire code, specifically, just all these little ins and outs of how far or what's the maximum distance between 2 fire extinguishers in our building. It's 75 feet. Asked me 18 months ago, I'd have had no clue. Now I know that because we've dealt with it about 6 different times now. Lots of little details that they're going to want to make sure are up to code. As soon as you start going through and changing a commercial building, like his example, taking a Planet Fitness, turning it into a grow facility, you're going to make a lot of structural changes, a lot of electrical changes. You're probably going to have to bring additional power to your building. There's a lot of things that are going to go into it that initially you might not even consider. You might consider some of it, but it'll be first thing you want to do is get the contractor and the architect together, discuss your plans, and then you're going to go from there.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
A second question, I want to go back real quick, from 20,000 foot view, this is after you've already decided or understand that you can be accepted to have an application?
No.
Personally, well, hold on a second. So, the first process, my understanding is you're gonna make sure that you can apply and get on. The second process is to make sure the building, or what you intend to have as a building is owned property. Then you're gonna go spend your $35,000, right? You have-
No, it's the other way around.
You're gonna spend $35,000 first before you can figure out.
So, you know, if you remember him a little bit ago talking about the different types of applications, either open or merit-based, in Colorado, we're pretty open. And the whole idea is that if you follow all these steps, and if you're going to meet the criteria, like we're going to go through a federal background check and all that, you're going to get your license, but you have to go through all these steps. It is a financially burdensome process. Like you're going to go through, like you said, the first step. That's just one of the many steps you're going to have to go through to get your architect. He and his team, along with your GC, are going to develop plans for you that you're going to then submit to the city. Hopefully those plans are correct. They're going to review them. They're going to give you permits. Then you're going to go through your construction process. You know, and it kind of sucks because yeah, you're going to put out a lot of money before you ever even get started. But in these open application process type states like Colorado, hopefully, you know, Florida will eventually become that. Hopefully it's like that everywhere, eventually here soon. It's more of you just have to take the action and get going